www.eslgaming.com.
Kill beyond godlike for no one. Digital chaos in style, in convincing fashion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Time for the final game of the first series of the day here in the semi-finals of the ESL One Genting SEA qualifiers. Geek Fam versus TNC. Some crazy games already. I mean, Geek Fam almost well looking pretty good. Game number 1. TNC though, they hit the timing push, able to win that game, turn it around. But in game number 2, Geek Fam actually pulled it out with the Terrorblade and Shadow Fiend just being super strong. And now we'll see what happens in well, game number 3, the elimination game. Match point for both of these teams. The losers out.
Really strong performance from Geek Fam in game number 2, of course. Cannot really stress that enough. I think it's really important for Geek Fam. I think if it has to go to game 3, I think if you were Geek Fam, I think you definitely want to win the second game. Right? If you win the first game and then lose the second game against a team like TNC, I think it has potential to just be like a very one-sided stomp. TNC, of course, will have to look to compose themselves, but at the same time, they have the experience. For them, I don't think this mentality factor will be much of an issue. As for the draft, it has somewhat gone back to the first game in regards to what kind of bans we see. Geek Fam taking out the Night Stalker Bounty Hunter. I suppose this is because they didn't want to give the Night Stalker just to TNC. Last game they knew they had first pick, so they could take the Night Stalker themselves if they were going to let it through. So this time around, we do see the puck yet again banned for Geek Fam. I mean, we talked about this in between the game, but it's not like the puck was necessarily the game-changing factor. But at the same time, he didn't really have to shine through because like you said, the Terrorblade was already doing was hogging the spotlight with all of the triple kills that he was getting. So, and not much for the puck to do there. TNC open with a Razor, very standard, or not standard, but very safe pick, I think.
Classic for them too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, was it Cuckoo or Raven who played it most?
10 seconds remaining.
One of those. I mean, it was an old TNC classic. Just kind of quite
5 seconds remaining.
Remember whether it wasn't out of mid or safe lane, but it's a very strong hero in this meta regardless of that, right? Against most heroes. Can kind of take out a lot of these carries, especially melee carries, of course, with the static link, just take away all the damage, and then obviously they're not nearly as scary, but Geek Fam, they have some comfort picks of their own. Omni Knight, Shadow Shaman, Tusk. Like, we've seen these heroes a lot from them.
We really have. Shadow Fiend now, this time around on the side of TNC. It is once again worth noting that Geek Fam, the Shadow Shaman Tusk combo is something that they really just enjoy running. And it's so strong for them that TNC chose to pick it themselves in the last game, right? They're like, hey, do you run Shadow Shaman Tusk all the time? Well, I guess there has to be something really good about it. And it kind of worked out for them for a while. Geek Fam going with a Queen of Pain now versus the Shadow Fiend mid, I suppose.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend mid, Razor probably now in a safe lane for Raven here up against the Omni Knight. Pretty decent, right? You have the static link to make it a little bit harder for Omni Knight to actually trade. You still have the purification to deal with and whatnot, but as a ranged hero, that is rather easy. And now Clockwork together with the Shadow Fiends are going to have the extra souls in the beginning. And I don't want to say you need it because Queen of Pain, pretty decent matchup though, right?
Sure. Queen of Pain does handle herself quite well, and of course, these days when do you really have a pure 1v1 matchup, right? Most of the time it is going to be, the support rotations that make or break the game. I am a little bit worried for Geek Fam right now with their lineup. They're very squishy. Yeah, you have an Omninet, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Right? And then they only have... Well, let's just say they don't have a lot of physical damage right now. Going forward, you know, SF, Razor, both agility cores, so they will have a lot of armor. And they will build into stats items, and they will build up HP, right? Usually we see Sanjinyasha, drums, Ags from Razor, you know, SF will see early BKBs. So it's really difficult for Geek Fam, I think. I mean, depending on, you know, what kind of how the early game turns out, it's going to be difficult for them to keep the tempo up and just keep killing these heroes without any reliable physical damage. And I think this is where the last pick has to really punch in the ticket.
Yeah.
There are, of course, a couple of carries still left in the pool, but some of the classic physical damage heroes, are, like one of the really strong ones, already taken out. You know, TB, CK, Dusa, those hard carries that you can rely on are already gone. So the question is here, who do they now rely on to just sort of like carry them? And quite frankly, I can't really think of a lot of heroes right now that I would rate as like top picks, right? That we could just like, all right, this totally ties it all together.
10 seconds remaining.
Like, if it wasn't for the Razor, if it wasn't for this region, I would say even Lifestealer, right? But I haven't actually seen that a whole lot in the SA as of late. But you would already have a few carriers for that. But as it stands, you probably want a ranged hero.
Pre-nerf, I would have said Morphling. I think Morphling could have worked here, just because there's not too much control. Yeah, you have the Nyx Assassin, you have the Clockwork, but that's not really hard control into the Morphling in the first place. And there's a lot of raw physical damage, right? Yeah, you can... And the good thing is Morphling has innate escape against the Razor, which is really good, because Razor likes to kite people around, likes to steal their damage and just, you know, finish them off. But Morphling can just morph away from out. That's pretty strong. And you can steal the Link as well. You can become the Razor, of course, right? There's a lot of good ways to play around it, but that's pre-nerf Morphling. Yeah. I doubt the Morphling... I doubt you want to run a Morphling now.
Yeah. I would rather say almost Luna would be a decent one.
I agree, because it's a lot of damage, but I think Luna's very squishy here. They have a lot of burst potential with the SF, with the Nyx Assassin, with the Razor. There's a lot of magic burst damage, and it will force the Luna into an early BKB. And yeah, again, I do think it's probably the best hero that's left, but at the same time, I do see a lot of concerns here, right? Again, there's a lot of magic burst damage, and even if she does pick up at BKB, there's still all the raw physical damage coming out from TNC's dual core lineup here. So, in my head right now, I very much favor TNC's lineup. I think it's much easier to execute. It's very straightforward. It has a win condition that isn't really timing dependent, right? Like they don't have to push very early. They don't need strong lanes. They don't need to like snowball. Whereas Geek Fam, I think they need a very solid laning stage to not lose this game right now, because the mid game potential from Nyx, Shadow Fiend, Razor it looks much stronger than, you know, Luna, Omninet, Queen of Pain.
Yeah, at the same time, like I do feel like they do have the heroes to make this laning stage work well, right? And then transition into a mid game, because Luna, very natural Hurricane Pike builder, so I force stuff into Hurricane Pike in this game because of the Clockwork. So you eventually have some ways to counterplay. You'll also probably maybe you can go back to the drums, right? Just to have some extra tankiness available to play up against the Nyx Assassin, to have some sort of defensive utility there. There are ways to like counterplay, and that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. I don't think it's a complete draft win for either side, really.
TNC on the dire side already hitting up their cogs. You know, obviously that old combo Shadow Fiend Clockwork.
Yeah.
It does force the Nyx Assassin to the 3 position because they are running the support Clockwork, but it's not that big of a deal. I think in this game it's actually pretty strong because you want an early Blink Dagger on the Nyx Assassin. You highlighted this time and time again, but you know, whenever a team does this with the Clockwork and the Shadow Fiend, the opponents tend to just walk up here, just because, you know, the SF will be here very late if he wants to pick up that rune.
Well, let's see if they risk making their way uphill once they're done with this. I mean, they've done like what, 3 rounds, 4 rounds? Go for another one, so it's already later than usual.
They might go for the full 18, for like full 6 rounds.
Not really worth it.
I don't think it's worth it.
It's not worth it at all. Missed a few here and there, but yeah, it's... Now he has to be careful.
I like how he types in the good luck, have fun after they do all the like cogs shenanigans.
They're gonna do one more round on route. All right.
Alright.
The battle begins.
Telling
Up
you.
to 17.
6 rounds.
Worthy
Yeah, they're also not walking up there, so
Blessings upon a loyal
makes a lot of sense.
warrior.
So they're gonna put the Luna aggressive, quote unquote. I say quote unquote because I wonder if this is just to give the Omni Knight the 1v1 matchup here. But as I say that, the Razor. Alright, yeah. They want to give the Omni Knight the 1v1 matchup for sure. And they see the TP coming. They saw the TP coming out from the Razor because of the ward behind the T1 tower. So they know, alright, the Razor is bound down here. We'll have the Luna down here as well.
yeah. TP in the support
I have to
already
say that,
in
though.
the general area.
Oh, actually, the Razor, I guess he didn't TP in. He walked in. Alright,
Oh, yeah.
never mind. So, well, getting bamboozled.
Let's still get 1-4-3-7 here, though. There's the shards available. That should be enough. Oh, yeah, the shackles come in, Luna, a couple right clicks. First blood will eventually go in favor of Geek, especially with the extra body blocks. Making sure it's Gambler on Luna. Gets the for himself, so off to a good start. Meanwhile, up top,
And for the dark
a bit
moon.
annoying. Omni Knight actually Degen Aura first.
Yeah.
That
That's a blunder.
is a tactical tumble, as I like to call it.
Mid lane.
Minor mismanagement.
Mid lane, the Clockwork was also just harassing the Queen of Pain. Forced out a lot of region already.
Radiant's top tower is
And
under
this is
attack.
not an easy lane for the Queen of Pain now because of the Clockwork rotation.
Yeah.
Top lane, we now have made the almost full rotation. 1-5-3-7 also TP'd up here. And now the Nyx Assassin has to walk all the way back down. It's almost not worth it in a way. Well, I mean, it is going to be worth it, but you know, it does give the Radiant a little bit of an edge here.
Yeah.
Mid lane.
A little bit further. Link was forced out a moment ago. Also with constant mana burns, like John has to be very, very careful.
Nice.
Aggressively just cancel south, alright, well played.
That was worth it.
Absolutely, because now Tim's can't even continue this harassment. John will have a bit more breathing room. Meanwhile up top, Shards kind of blocking in 1-4-3-7. I still believe this is Tiny Path, not quite. He's throwing away March. It's about to hit level 2 here with these creeps.
Got it.
Yeah, so he does have the purification available now, if he wants it.
Very important. Mid lane again. This is almost an impossible lane for this Queen of Pain, really.
Oh, this time the shots. They actually catch him. Purification not quite skilled just yet. Want to hold on to it, and just clicking him down at this point. There it is, snowball cross. Finally, purification. You just get the last hit as the damage drain comes through from the Razors. Actually, dropping quite low himself. The Knight has to wait it out a little bit. You can drive through the trees, but it'll eventually fall. Not enough real estate there to really make that work and hold on for another purification.
Yeah, with boots on the Razor, it was impossible for the Omni Knight to really run away there.
Yeah.
Mid lane, again, Queen of Pain, a possible lane for her. She has to stack right now. SF can even keep the creep. Oh, actually, now he can't anymore because it's underneath the tower. But you know, with the Clockwork here, he can control the creep wave as much as he likes, really.
Yeah.
It's really annoying for the Queen of Pain. And unlike the SF, actually, Queen of Pain has a much more difficult time to sort of like come back into the game.
Yeah.
SF has much more spammable spells, of course, because it's 3 raises. Queen of Pain only has the Scream of Pain.
Yeah. What Queen of Pain wants to do is try and farm heroes once you get levels, right? Once you're at level 6, level 7, you have the max level Scream of Pain plus a Sonic Wave in most circumstances, so then you just look to gank one of the side lanes. I mean, especially down bottom. Ollie doing his best to zone out the Nyx Assassin. He's still sitting only at level 2. And the Luna, by comparison, up to level 4. So at least that lane's working out. Top lane also a bit of a back and forth here with the kill that they got, but then March dying again. Don't quite want to call that won or lost here for either side just yet.
Yeah, but honestly, I think you can almost call it a win for the Radiant. Not you know, not a win-win, but they're doing much better than the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah,
That's actually really important. Oh,
that is true.
that's a snowball onto the Rubik. I don't think he can just. Can he just get the solo kill?
No, it don't think so.
Think of the
Lift
dive
was
for
already
this?
used.
Wow.
Yeah, no way, no way.
Tanking a free tower shot.
If March was there, but he was zoned out with the static link. Had to try and walk away from the Razor. He does have his own boots now, so that is helpful. Meanwhile, though, mid has a bit of a wraparound, play hard on this Tusk. If Shadowfiend, if he was a little bit further, like if the Creeper was pushing into the other side, maybe he ends up in the river, and that's a very dead Shadowfiend indeed. But
This is
Not
not
quite
an
that
easy
lucky.
kill to set up for. SF Has a lot of mana, still has a lot of regen, has wand, has a fairy fire. So even if they were to get him somewhat low, he would always, you know, have that burst heal to maybe turn it around. So wise decision from the Tusk to just move back up and potentially just look for this Rubik.
Yeah, again, the shots blocking him in. And, well, March will slow down Purification whenever they want it, and there it is. Making it look so easy.
This is why I think this is acceptable for the Queen of Pain to suffer, as long as they can keep it up in this offlane. Give the Omninate a good time, give the Tusk a little bit of a good time, give them an XP advantage over the other side. Though as I say that, Tusk is actually behind the Clockwork in terms of experience.
Bit odd, isn't it? Yeah, it'll blink out. You can't stop that even with the Battery Assault. It's the interval's not big enough to really indefinitely put that on hold. Yeah, I mean, Tusk roaming around a lot, I guess, and Clockwork spending a lot of time just soaking experience away from the Shadow Fiend. Guess that's the one reason. But he's still ahead of the Queen of Pain, just because he's been dominating the lane so much. Also with the denies. I mean, 17 of those were from the Cogs, but the rest are just straight up creep denies, which does add up for the Queen of Pain.
It's like 18 denies against the Queen of Pain.
Same time down bottom though. Luna just cracked level 6 and 3.5 from the Nyx Assassin, so it's just the same story, right? Except on a different lane. Luna with 30 denies on her CS sheet. Tim's actually showing himself down here.
Yeah, he can't really do too much mid. I mean, we had this in the last game, right? With the Night Stalker on the Shadow Fiend. Yeah, you want to give them a good start, but you have to move out of the lane because you can't just soak up the experience from them all the time. So it makes sense, a lot of sense for him to rotate here. Oh, top lane. They're TPing the Luna for this even. I like this.
What comes in from the Razor. Yeah, he's draining some damage from the Omniate. Purification comes through, but yeah, with the, as you said, you like this a lot, and this is why. That secures the kill with the early damage potential. Didn't even, yeah, just use the one Lucent Beam, right?
And now they can just have the Luna sit here in the lane. I mean, they wanted the Luna Razor matchup anyway, right? And then they can just rotate with a Tusk Omni Knight. I mean, this is why I like this dual lane, because now they have like a level 5 Omni Knight that they can snowball onto the SF if they wanted to. But of course, they would have to hit it as well.
Meanwhile, Shadow Shaman ends up dropping down bottom under the towers, so Tims and Sam H working together to make that happen. So that's the flip side, right? At the very least, the Assassin gets a little bit of extra space. Same for the Clockwork, almost as important. Both of these level 6s are game changers.
They're taking Luna stack.
Oh man.
They had vision over it and then they called for the SF.
Want to contest it though. March making his way in here. A lot of the creeps still very much alive, and now mid only. The shots not quite block him in. Play hard.
Queen of Pain is here as well.
There it is. Yeah, alright, that's his ultimate. Blowing up one. Mid only, not quite caught by that, unfortunately for them.
Alright, they keep the stack alive. That's the important part.
Indeed.
And after the last game where they lost the huge SF stack, they're like, no. Protect the stack, boys.
Got it.
Don't quite get another one on top of that.
You take us, but not our stacks.
Blessings upon a loyal warrior.
There's another one on the other side of the map.
Radiant's
Luna's still
middle
sticking
tower
around
is
here,
under
because why
attack.
not? So far, I mean, Geek Fam is doing quite well.
Yeah, they are. In terms of net worth, Luna is definitely leading. And, you know, Omni Knight is also doing very well, definitely in comparison to the Nyx Assassin. It's just the Queen of Pain is just suffering, right?
Yeah.
She's about 1,000 behind the SF. And it's not so much the comparison between the two, it's just that, you know, she kind of wants items, obviously. She's as a hero, just wants to be able to have a large impact on the mid game. But, and she can have that still with just the abilities. That's why the hero is so strong. But at the same time, you need a couple of items still. You can't just roam around with like boots and wand. It's very risky. And of course, she is very susceptible to ganks as well still. You know, if the Nyx Assassin ever hits level 6, that could be something that she needs to look out for.
Probably classic handles, right? Nyx Assassin gets any sort of mobile intelligence core, right? Once you have the levels, you can initiate with help of Vendetta, stun, and do a lot of damage with the mana burn. So eventually it's gonna be an issue. And sooner, considering that Chuan is where he is right now, with kind of low net worth. We're not quite there yet.
Lane lift into double ray? No, that was a mistake. he could have had a double race, but he accidentally clicked the long range.
Incoming! Well, can't have everything. Chuan just holding on. Like, he hasn't died. which is pretty damn good.
Dire's top tower
He got
is
close a
under
couple of
attack.
times, but they haven't really been able to make that work.
Radiant's
Bottom lane looks like they're
tower
diving
is
for this.
under
Yeah, the
attack.
only knight is being...
Indeed. TP through though from the Luna. This Eclipse available even after the mana burn. There's one throw out just yet. There it is now though, realizing hey, there's no no extra spike carapace to stop him. But Juan Archie linking into a lot of trouble as Razor sitting in the middle of that too. Ollie barely surviving this one.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, the Cogs in very good position. Oh god, there's a zap down. Alright.
And Luna's in trouble here as well.
Yeah,
If
he's
the
super
Ruby can get in
fast.
range now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, this is troublesome from Geek Fam. That's the Queen of Pain rotation,
Dire's
right?
top tower is
It's
under
time,
attack.
it's TP on cooldown. Whether she doesn't get anything done. Omni Knight dies, one of the heroes that did actually pretty well. Luna wastes her rotation as well, wastes the ultimate. I mean, not waste, she does get the next assassin.
Yeah, you got 2 beams off at least, but the Cogs were just in such a good position because Luna couldn't
really
come
were.
in after that. You got 2 beams off here, but then the Cogs were in this area. Luna got like burned once and then burned twice, and the actual fight was going on in here, under the trees.
Which is really unfortunate that the Tusk didn't TP in. His TP, I believe, was still on cooldown because he TP'd top
Radiant's
earlier.
bottom tower has
And
fallen.
he wasn't able to help. Because if he TP's in there, a defensive snowball for the Queen of Pain, maybe she at least gets the ultimate off before she dies.
Yeah.
So that
Dire's
could
middle
have
tower is
potentially been
under
a different
attack.
fight. They're now smoking up. They realize, all right, we have the Queen of Pain. We need to do something. But Nyx Assassin is not the best target really for this gank. He's difficult to bring down. He has the ultimate. Do they have an endless detection? That's the important part. They do have the sentry.
Yeah, they do. They have the control from Shackles. Sonic Wave, maybe a bit overkill here. They still have the hacks to follow it up with.
Get your safe word.
At the very least, they will be able to turn this into a tower push, even have the wards if they want to commit some more ultimates here in this particular lane. And I guess trade-off right now would be mid. Tim's like clicking the creeps there before Shadowfiend takes over, but they're smoking up instead.
Dire's
Yeah,
top
looks
tower
like they want to
is
wrap
under
around for the top
attack.
lane. They might... Well, do they have a glyph? No, they do not. Alright, with the Razor,
Radiant are
with the
scanning.
wraparound, maybe they can get some stragglers, but they shouldn't be able to.
The shots scanning out a little bit here. The Cogs after the hook shot. Snowball would delay this a little bit further, but the rest of Geek Fam have already called it quits. So just gonna leave them to die. Space created against 5 heroes made the rotation up top. They don't quite find the tower, but they don't lose any significant heroes, and now they have the wards to set up and win more
Radiant's
TPs
top
forced.
Double TP
is
though,
under
yeah.
attack.
They're just playing around with TNC's mobility right now.
Yeah, TNC is just... They really are all over the map.
Yeah, I mean, look at Shadowfiend, he ran top, now he's ran back mid.
Why not clear up the wards here?
Yeah.
I guess actually they're giving it to the supports. I like that actually. A lot of gold here.
Yep.
Radiant's middle tower
Oh,
is
next
under
assassin
attack.
Invis hunting the Luna. Doesn't get quite in range.
I mean, how long can TNC keep this kind of moving up, though?
I don't think they feel pressured at all. If anything, this is actually very beneficial, keeping the enemy down. Yeah, you could potentially play more efficiently by just farming on all heroes, but if you can deny the opponent resources, that's very valuable. And they're
Radiant's middle
they're
tower
making
is
sure they
under
don't take the
attack.
towers. They're pressuring them out of the lanes. Like suddenly
Radiant
nobody can farm mid lane.
structures are
Suddenly nobody can
fortified.
farm in the jungle anymore.
Yeah.
And they're the ones to now take the tower. And I really like this play. I feel like if they actually were to just fall back and just farm and just try to outfarm the opponent,
Radiant's middle
yeah,
tower
maybe you
has
build like an
fallen.
item more or so than the others, but
Dire's
you still
top
give
tower
an
has
item to the
fallen.
others as well, right?
Yep.
If they gave Geek Fam more time to farm up, that would suddenly be like a Manta style, or maybe like an Orchid on the Queen of Pain. That's just really annoying to deal with, but you can also just pressure them like
Yep.
from minute one.
The thing is, at the very least, Luna is still doing the thing, right? You're still farming there. 6.6k net worth on top of the charts. They did also get the tower trade as Juan was finishing that up on top, while the 2-1 mid has fallen. So it still depends on what happens next, right?
It's also really important. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're about to bring this up. I mean, Shadowfiend and
Dire's
Razor
top tower
both.
is under attack.
They're sitting in a very comfortable spot, especially compared to the Queen of Pain, who's yet to catch up.
Mid lane Luna is being hunted by the Nyx Assassin. I doubt anything should come out of this. Oh, the
That's the normal ward here.
There
There it is, that's the sentry into the Hex. The Shackle immediately cancelled though with a follow-up stun. Luna dropping so slow and burst it down, despite the heals, a little bit too late. And, well, that's Ollie down. And there's another heal, that was a Rubik one initially. So burst on Luna, but wow, and just rumbled. Just like that. 1, 2, 3 on a killing spree.
this is not good for Geek Fam. That's the highest net worth hero on their team, just dying so quickly and so easily as well. Also, the Ancient stack taken. Yeah, that sucks.
It's just the power of these level 6s. Like Nix Assassin, sure, I mean, he did get caught out, but he did have help on the way with the hook shot. Perfectly placed.
Bottom lane, Queen of Pain getting caught out.
That is so painful. Now punch up in the air. Tusk, he got something.
The thing that I wanted to bring up actually is that taking map control or denying map control for the enemy is really important for TNC right now, and this early as well, because they have the Nyx Assassin. Like that gank early on the Luna is only possible because they took the tier 1 mid. This Nyx Assassin has been basically just running around this mid lane, and just staying invis, you know, trying to find or gain information, find a kill. And the more towers they take, the more powerful this Nyx Assassin is going to be, because it just expands his reach and his territory. Yeah, they have sentries, they can drop sentries, but it's just going to starve the supports. I mean, look at this Shadow Shaman. He has 2 sentries with him and has 100 gold now, right? Yeah. He's really been starved. He's been dropping sentries, and it's still not enough. Yeah, you see him, but you still don't kill him. Yeah. So even the money that he is investing into countering the Nyx Assassin is not even working out. So for them, or for TNC right now, this Nyx Assassin has to, or is a really crucial part of winning the game right now, because he is the one to gather information. It's sort of like a bounty hunter play, right?
Yeah.
Except that he can actually like kill people or set up kills much more efficiently than a bounty hunter could.
Well,
looking to try and make some more out of that. They're walking past the sentry, but no actual vision on Hagen, so I don't know. Yeah, they drop another one.
They pinged it out.
They do see him now. They find him initiate. They also block the rest of them off with the shots. Hook shot across, but now the Sonic Wave to finish up Samage immediately. Snowball in from the Rubik towards March. Secure that kill despite the Guardian Angel being dropped down. Lots of magic damage to finish the job. So 1-4 trade in the end, but what was that, a buyback actually? Yeah, from the Nyx Assassin. They'll also find Playhard, maybe. It's a bit of an interesting shape here with the stolen shots and the actual shots, but they find him with vision from the rocket, lift. Not a snowball to delay things a little bit further, but it is inevitable that this is a dead Tusk.
Well, I wonder if the buyback was because they thought to themselves, we need to win this fight so we can take Roshan, because it's very close to the Roshan pit. But honestly, don't think they can even do that right now.
Yeah. Don't have a lot of minus armor really, apart from the passive from the SF.
Could have been a misclick as well, honestly. And just in the heat of the moment, you know.
It was just one of these where I think, alright, they're all here, I need to be there to fight, because I have a good AoE stun in this choke point. Like, maybe they're hoping that Geek Fam were hanging around for a lot longer than they ended up doing.
This honestly, watching Oni play is so fascinating sometimes. His map awareness is so good. He just perfectly pinged out a ward. He was walking like, wait, I'm pretty sure they have a ward here, and he's gonna bring sentries with him now. And he's been on point, like not only this game or the series, even in the previous series, he's always been on point when it comes to this sort of like map control as a support, right?
Yeah.
Which is not easy, really. It really isn't, especially against the Nyx Assassin like this.
TNC continue to just maintain this lead. The gold lead actually has taken a bit of a dip somehow here with the farming, because Luna's still keeping up.
Oh no, they're
slowly
up here.
along. Oh. Didn't quite smoke here as the rocket came through, so they're still holding on to that, fortunately.
See, I'm curious now. Did they anticipate the ward here now? Because I mean, he pinged out this position earlier, but he didn't place a ward. I wonder if the rocket from the Clockwork just confirmed it. Like, well, why would he rocket here?
Maybe
like, he definitely saw us. So you know. Anyway, Nyx Assassin might actually find this Shadow Shaman. Has to be careful. If Shadow Shaman just drops a sentry, it could instant hack.
There's one just trying. I figured out a little bit too late that this camp's actually blocked, so this center ward doesn't actually catch it.
Yeah, this Shadow Shaman.
There it is. Yeah. This time he drops March, throwing on Repeller on himself. Luna can't with the caught by Clockwork though, trying to get anything off, but he can't with the Barrier Assault. Once again, they are dropping like flies one by one. TNC re-establishing this momentum, establishing that dominance on the Radiant side of the map even. Making sure that Geek Fam cannot feel safe, and now they go back into this Roche. We'll see Heroes on the sidelines. Feels very comfortable doing so.
And this also comes back to the Omni actually using GA earlier. You know, when he got caught out north of the Roshan pit, he used GA and now he didn't have it available.
Yeah. Also,
Maybe
if he used Repel in that fight on the Luna rather than himself,
oh.
he didn't anticipate the Clockwork coming in, but if you use Repel on Luna, maybe that Eclipse goes off. That's level 2, plus the normal Lucent Beam. Like, that's a lot of damage that we haven't really seen come out just yet. Maybe the fight looks different, but just wasn't to be.
Looks like they want to contest Roshan, or maybe just be cheeky for steal.
Cheek chasing him in, the Snowball comes through, but Seraphine still picks up the Aegis, and that's the Sonic Wave to trigger it immediately. Alright. Playhard will still fall on the Tusk.
I guess that's actually a bit of a win to just get out of here. And
if they get away, right, that's the other thing. Ollie caught with the vision. What up on the high ground, that's all he can really do.
An unstoppable Rubik.
Run down, yeah. 1-4-3-7, it's on point with that.
This is really rough for the Radiant right now.
Middle
And again, I do think it comes back to the draft, because this Luna is so squishy. Like, the Clockwork can just hookshot her, and she doesn't do anything. And if this game, if this was like 10 minutes later, it's a completely different story, because Luna has like one more big item, right? But that mid-game aggression from TNC, I think, is just too much for Geek Fam to handle right now. And yeah, that Luna, she gets caught out with the ults. Yeah, she's dead for sure.
I mean, I don't know. He has a 4-stuff. Yes, Kamala has the 4-stuff now. Went for Drainlands first, and the Yasha. There's like farming items here in this game in particular. Like you want both the Manta as well as the 4-stuff part of that Hurricane Pike. But not having that really cost them quite a bit, especially in the last fight. Not having any way to get outside the cards.
I think even if he has the 4-staff, there's like so much damage and like there's additional control, not just the Clockwork, right? You have the lift, anything that the Rubik steals, because like Snowball and Shards are really strong against Luna as well.
Yeah.
And then of course the next Assassin and Pale, so it feels.
It is another hook shot and a push back, and Cox in instantly annihilate the Tusk. Luna's still on the sidelines here. The ward's being dropped, but it's just being farmed.
Roshan has to be careful not to give away the wards to the Rubik.
Chuan chase him out.
Actually,
away.
no, I think he used Hex after the wards, so should be good.
Rubik's still holding on to the Lucent Beam anyway. That's a lot of extra nuke damage from him.
I mean, especially with his no field max, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't have it max
Not
now,
yet,
but once he does have it max, it's gonna be incredible. Gonna be strong. Yeah, it's difficult right now for the Radiant side. I think they have to smoke up and try and look for a fight on the enemy side of the map. Like they can't just get picked off like they have been thus far. I think most of the times they were the ones getting initiated on. Yeah, there it is. They're smoking up. They need to find a fight in the enemy jungle, really. Even if it's just like a support Clockwork or like a support Rubik, they just need to find somebody and just alleviate the pressure. But unfortunately, I think, yeah, they're very much aware of it. Whole scan on the same place on both teams, really. Yeah, TNC is very much aware of this. I think. I mean, you know, sometimes when I watch a game and I think to myself, well, if I can think of it, obviously the players can think of it as well, right?
Yeah.
So if I can think of the thing, you know, Geek Fam has to smoke, TNC will be very much aware of this as well. And indeed they are. So they're perfectly dodging this gank, and they're going to force them back with TPs, which is not something you want, really, in a position like this, because, you know, everybody's stacking TPs, and it's just annoying.
Yeah. As a result, a little bit of extra damage is being done to this tier 3 tower. And, well, some TP back, some just walk back. Could perhaps be an opportunity for Tim to even catch somebody out, but not quite yet able to find somebody. As I say that though, never mind, the task lifted up in the air, and I have a couple of raises and right clicks. Once again, he's the first one to drop. Below the Eclipse on the back here, Luna forced a fight, but could even turn into something. You'll Scepter to dodge some of that out on the Seraphine, but nice timed Sonic Wave. Mid only will fall to the last right click, bouncing through. The Shackles from the low ground will also secure the Clockwork. Just like that, they're back in this game, especially if they find more. 1-4-3-7, March trying to run him down. One more punch will do it, but at what cost? He dies himself to the right clicks. As Raven taken over, but it was a bait. Next level gets a static link off on Luna, but it doesn't end up mattering way too much. Another Hex, another nuke. The Spike Carapace will make it a little bit tricky, but eventually they should be able to round out this next assassin kill. A full 5-man wipe. This is how the tables turn, Skim.
It really is. I honestly didn't think this would turn out the way it did. When the Luna went in there, I was like, well, she's just running into 5 people.
Look at this fight recap.
Oh, boy!
9,000 experience,
Oh my
4,000 gold gained, another 500 loss. This is crazy, especially on the Queen of Pain. 1,000 for her, another 1,000 for the Luna, and 1,000 for the Shadow Shaman, who's been so poor this entire game.
That is insane. That really is insane. They're not going to get a tower out of this, but I feel like the team fight is already big enough as is.
Yeah.
And, you know, you mentioned the gold. I mean, that sets them up for future items.
Yeah.
Suddenly the Queen of Pain is halfway, basically halfway to BKB.
And as crazy as the fight recap was, it's not the only thing, right? Because everyone being down like that, it just opens up the map. You can start to breathe, you can spread out a little bit and farm, even if you don't get the tower. So that just adds like another couple of 100 gold at least on top of that, as a direct result of that team fight.
TNC realized this as well. They need to disrupt, or they need to sort of like swing the momentum back into their side and sort of like just pressure Geek Fam again. And they're smoking up for a king kill here. Should be able to get this Omni Knight, or do they? It's an Omni Knight.
Ah, well, got to repel a little bit late. Hook shot still to lock him down. With a damage storm from the Razor, they will finally finish him off. He didn't have the Guardian Angel available, even if he wanted to use
kill,
it.
and now Chuan just cannot afford to die. He has to survive here.
Caught up though by the next assassin here. Extra Razors, Yield Scepter, and Blink is still available if he can get it off, and he can just in time. No extra Blink available from the next assassin, just cooling down, but Ollie, he's actually taking the spell instead. Buyback forced out from the Omni Knight.
Shadow Shaman has to buyback as well. They need the control. Well, unless TNC retreat, of course, but if they commit, Shadow Shaman has to TP.
You do have the Hurricane Pike, you do have the Manta Style now. Cock's not quite pushing back. So far, so good. I mean, using a buyback like that, not ideal, but at least you hold on to the high ground. You can even hold on to tier 3, so Shrine's still safe.
This it was really important for the Queen of Pain to survive there. It's not so much the gold that she would lose and being forced to use the buyback. It's actually more of the mental factor, because, and this happens to a bunch of teams. I think most notably to Complexity. When you start getting picked off one by one, it's like a mental thing where you just spiral downwards. Yeah. Right. Especially after a win like that, to be reset. You lose the Omni Knight. Imagine losing Queen of Pain, being forced to buy back on them as well. It's like such a huge amount of loss in a short amount of time. That's just very, very difficult to deal with mentally. So it was really important for her to stay alive, and she is now closer than ever to the BKB.
Yeah. That's one of these items that can potentially win them another fight and then put them in the lead, essentially. Right? TNC is still sitting at about 5k. And even swung back after the team fight, just of course with the buyback and everything coming into play. So it's this game is still very much open for either team to take. It just depends on these item timings and whether they can find an initiation. In that sense, TNC kind of have the better end, because despite that extra money infusion, Shadow Shaman still very much far away from any sort of Blink dagger, which would be extremely valuable. Blink into Hex. I guess the Arcane would screw it up, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see him maybe try and save up for that. Because outside of that, they still only have the Tusk, and we were talking about it in the last game, how that's not really all that reliable at this stage in the game. Whereas on the other side, you have the Nyx Assassin with Invis and Blink Initiation, and you also have the Clockwork, which is very good at just starting teamfights and controlling them up and separating them into neat little chunks with a well-placed set of cogs.
Nexus is also working on a Rod of Atos. Rod of Atos is such a strong item here. Yeah, the BKBs are coming out, but forcing a BKB with just a Rod of Atos would be huge, right? And Queen of Pain with the root can't just get a Rod of Atos. You have to use the BKB to get out of that, so that could be a really important item going forward, but he doesn't have it quite yet, so
this is so close. The smoke will break now. The repel on top. They see the Razor first. They initiate and not even thinking twice. Juan with a BKB coming through. The Eclipse bouncing out and not quite, no one quite dead just yet. Now the Stolen Eclipse actually from Rubik doing so much more work than the initial one did. Luna still fighting, but inside the cogs, no way out of this one. TNC, they swat them down. They repel this attack to sting to the side with style. Oh my god.
They initiate onto the one hero that would have not been able to... They couldn't kill with that combo. The Pipe Razor, right? He is so tanky with his item build right now. Not only does he have high amounts of armor because of the Shiva's Guard, he has good stats with the drums, he has the Pipe, right? Literally the only hero in that lineup that doesn't die to that Eclipse combo is the Razor right now. And unfortunately for them, they jump him, he survives, and they're able to turn him around. Clutch steal from the Rubik, of course, but in general, just also good positioning from the Dire side. TNC, they knew something was happening. They just didn't know which angle it would come from, but they positioned themselves in a way where, all right, if something does happen, we can always respond from every angle, right? Either supports tank it, or we can force staff the cores out. It was just not a good position for Geek Fam to fight in, and they felt really very pressured. But also because they had that ward. It's like this false sense of security. You have that ward, all right, this is like an ideal situation for us. Surely we can take the fight. Yeah. But I'm not sure if they were fully aware of the item build from the Razor, because if you are, I don't think you ever initiate like that onto the Razor.
Maybe it's just a matter of, all right, I spoke to Bot Expire, we need to find something here, and maybe they're a little bit more strung out. Maybe they aren't all clumped together. So maybe we can still find that, or find somebody, right? Like...
But it's also
it's very hard to make that call to just disengage, you know, if you're already in the mindset of, right, we're smoking, we want to find a kill, right?
That is definitely true. But yeah, that fight also goes to show the point that we're literally making just before that. Oh, that's a solo kill. The point we're literally trying to make before, that you made before that, is that where's the initiation from the Radiant side? The smoke breaks. What do? Do they blink stun? Do they blink whatever? No, they snowball.
Just walk up and snowball.
Yeah, that's it.
Plenty of time for Razor to get anything off that he wants to, and the rest of the team to react.
They also lost a gem, by the way, and that whole engagement, Queen of Pain had a gem, or, well, somebody had a gem. They lost that one, which is huge, because the gem would have been a huge control factor when it comes to map control, and now it's TNC with the map control, right? Look at the map right now. There's one ward from the Radiant alive, and that's just like a... How often is that ward going to pay off in this game anymore, right? It's like a valiant effort to just drop some ward that's unlikely to get dewarded, but it's probably not going to provide a lot of value in this game.
Well, I can still rely on sentries, so Nick's assassin cannot just willy-nilly walk up to the high ground. They did get the tier 3, so the shrines are open. And the tier 2 is as well. You even have a double catapult wave here on top now. TNC just getting closer and closer to punching a ticket to the grand finals here in the ESL One Genting qualifiers.
It's actually worth noting that, you know, the Radiant side doesn't really have that good deep push. I mean, I say... They do have the Ether Shock, they do have the Luna bouncing blades, but, you know, getting into those, getting in range for those catapults, if there is a siege, it's actually not that easy. Yeah. You can't just use Sonic Wave for that. So, going forward, this could be a concern for sure. There is a blink now on the Tusk, so going forward, we won't have to see Geek Fam initiate with just a snowball. Yeah. But it's still not as clean of an initiation as, you know, Blink Impale. Especially since Blink Impale is like an AoE initiation. Yeah. You can hit multiple heroes with that. Blink Snowball, I guess, yeah, technically, yeah, you could also hit multiple people with that, but it's very unlikely.
It's very tricky to make use of, really.
And a lot of times you want to actually sort of use or save the Snowball for defensively as well, depending on the scenario, right? So you kind of have to initiate with a Blink Punch, which is definitely single target.
Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack.
Wasn't there like a talent that changed that at some point? Or didn't it used to be an Aghanim Sub upgrade, an AoE punch? Or was it... Oh, that was a Spirit Break, I believe. The AoE ultimate.
Maybe?
Yeah. I think Spirit Break has that.
Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack. Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
Still, Geek Fam forces to run to their base. At this point, they're just hoping to try and find a better angle for the next team fight. TNC with complete map control, and well, they can just wait until they find the right opportunity. Of course, they did claim another Roshan just a moment ago. Cheese and Aegis on Razor and Shadow Fiend, respectively.
Crimson Guard on the next Assassin. Looks like he didn't go for the Rod of Aethos after all. He did have a couple of those components, but well. Rod of Aethos, not Rod of Aethos. Crimson Guard also a good item though. Yeah. In this game for sure. That's Luna, always very valuable.
So, when will they pull the trigger? Can't they have all the time in the world, really? Or do they? I mean, like, what other items are looking for on the Radiant side right now? It's mostly gonna have to be the Luna, right? But the Butterfly is still very far away. You also want to hold on to buyback, which he barely has. It's still in cooldown for 2.5 minutes even.
If you're a Dire or if you're TNC, you definitely want to try and siege in the next 2 or 3 minutes with the Aegis, of course. You don't really get much stronger than this. There's no item. SF literally just picked up the Skadi, I believe. Razor can, I mean, I guess he could be working on an item, but I'm not sure which item he would be working on. You know what he could actually do? He could get a Halberd against Luna.
Yeah.
It's a single core. Being able to take out her right click damage is would be quite nice.
Yeah.
And of course the additional evasion as well. Of course.
Yeah. Well, game has slowed down, so that's why we're. And I have plenty of time.
I think TNC are just playing it very patiently. They want all the waves to be pushing in. Look at the bottom lane. Yeah. They want all 3 lanes to be pushing in so that when they're sieging, it's much more effective. As I say that though, it looks like they're smoking up, trying to bait something. I guess. Wait for somebody to push out and then kill them.
We wait to show bottom, then going through mid, but it's not really going to work. I have gonna have at least one hero here always. Yeah.
Oh,
Geek were in a pretty good position, but as I say, that lift up into the stun, down to the logo, and 4-staff not quite back up to the high ground. And another snowball though, with the 4-staff, it wasn't even necessary, so now he will get himself closer, but he gets something out, so he still dies. 4-staff, a couple of extra spells, including the hook shot. With no buyback, as I said, means that it's going to be a bit of an issue. 50 seconds for TNC has a much easier time to take this fight. But Luna with the repel, still a bit annoying. They'll break that link immediately. But now, okay, 4-star forward, Guardian Angel. Alright, Juan with the BKB will dodge a nice little Sonic Weapon. Absolutely everybody long shackles, ton long range with the extra 4-star, but they need to actually do some damage to the Shadow Beam. Now the Eclipse tanked up with the creep wave though. Juan force a blink out, the right clicks enough to finish up the Luna. No buyback on her either still for quite a while. And that I don't want to call it just yet here. They're holding on, but they cannot really do too much, can they?
They really can't.
Everyone's still very much alive and kicking.
They're available as well, so worst case scenario, they could always use that, but they still have Spirit Vessel charges for days, so why even worry about that? Yeah. Rex are gonna fall. I don't even know where they're pinging. God damn it.
Buyback will be back in 20 seconds.
Yeah, they might have to use it if they want to hold Rex. Actually, I think at this stage you accept the fact that you lose 2-sided Rex. I don't think they can go for 3 because of the timing. I don't think it will work out.
It's like, even if Luna comes back, you also need a Shadow Shaman release, right? I mean, they're delaying as much as they can, but even with the Shadow Shaman, even with the Luna, I'm not sure you can even do that without the Sonic Wave.
No ultimates available on the Radiant side.
Yeah. On the flip side, I didn't have to use even the SF ultimate. He's holding on to cheese now. Yeah, they're not even taking a chance. TNC realize, hey, like, we have complete control of this game, and we're not giving that up at all.
That should help.
Like you said, that fight earlier, you know, if it hadn't been for the creep wave tanking the Eclipse, maybe it looks a little bit differently. But at the same time, if Eclipse is that huge, a huge part of your team fight, that can't be good. Just because they have the pipe already to counter it.
Yeah.
You need more physical damage, really, and this is why this is why the bans from TNC coming out were so good. If this was a Dusa, if this was a Terrorblade, like if this is like any other carry, I think it's a completely different scenario. But the Luna right now is very aligned in terms of damage on the Eclipse and being able to hit people. But you don't even have like a frontliner to sort of like attract the attention. Luna kind of has to walk in and just hit people. But right now it's just not enough. She is working on a butterfly, of course. I mean, you mentioned that what, like 10 minutes ago almost.
Yeah. No, not quite.
Well, not quite, but yeah, it feels like it's been 10 minutes since then. And TNC, they're just in perfect control of the game right now. Item-wise, we have the Agams now on the Razor, so pushing is going to be much easier for them. There's a Butterfly now on the SF as well. So Luna, who's it almost seems like years away from the MKB, is not going to be able to hit him directly, at least.
Yeah, just combining all the prayers to Ice Frog, RNG gods, whoever will listen. Just give them something, like some crack in TNC's armor, some opportunity to get a free kill, an easy kill, because TNC have not been giving that at all. Everyone's super tanky, like even the Nyx Assassin, 2k health points, good amount of armor, and then of course we're talking about the Razor and the Shadow Fiend.
Oh, this is not just straight up walking in. They're like trying to look for something, but with the Razor ultimate, they might just lose at least one Rex here while they're trying to TP in. Yeah.
He will be scattered out as a gem on Queen of Pain again, so, but yeah, they lost a segment of Rex.
Oh, the Luna getting lifted in the mid lane.
Oh no, the repel to try and help, but the right clicks are too strong. Guardian Angel will fix that issue, but force up out. All of this just to retreat, just to get back to the fountain even. Silence and Nick's Assassin. He's walking out. They have no threat potential whatsoever here up against TNC, and well, Razor no ultimate, but 262 damage still makes it much easier.
This has to be it.
They have all the ultimates apart from Guardian Angel. They have to do something now. A couple right clicks with a punch. BKB though. Guardian Angel stolen actually by Rubik. Now turn things around, so no more right clicks, no more glaives of consequence here. The wards are down, but just farming it up very easily. There's the Eclipse, but I believe hasn't been stolen. It has indeed once again. Holding out for one right opportunity to use it here is 1437. Oh, shot on!
Caught out.
Actually finding Omni Knight in the side. That is the stolen Eclipse. Even an Axe Eclipse? Yeah, it is. Alright.
Yes, it's an Axe.
It's like, where's the Rubik? He's not in the middle of that. Yeah, he just clicked it.
That is very much GG.
I mean, props to TNC. Like, they played very well. But I'm kind of sad for Geek Fam because, like, we've counted all this series up to this point. They've been playing extremely well. They've been getting better and better. But ultimately, it was not enough to help them win this game number 3, the crucial deciding game.
I can't help but feel that they lost 2 games just now based on the draft. I mean, it's not as easy as, you know, just saying that draft was the issue, but I do think that draft was a fundamental issue in both this game and then the first game. I'm not saying that I had like an idea for like a carry that would have definitely like been better. Again, I do think that a lot of the best carries that I could have gotten were banned out. Yeah. But I don't think that the Luna was necessarily the right choice just because she is very squishy. Yeah. I would have wanted something that might need more time to come online to be able to join fights, but that can hold his own ground and maybe provides control. I was thinking something like the Void, something along those lines. Because the Luna, again, I mean, we saw it in the in many of those fights, right? She's very squishy. She has to invest a lot of items into defensive. She has to invest a lot of gold into defensive items, right? We've seen the BKB, we've seen the Hurricane Pike. I don't know. It feels like it wasn't really the pick here, but again, it wasn't necessarily just the Luna pick. Yes. Right? The build up to that Luna pick was also not good enough, right?
It wasn't a good pick, but it was the best pick that they had available.
Exactly.
Left. Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah. Unless they had some completely different strategy, some sort of crazy thing that we can't even think about right now.
But pick aside, I mean, even in the game, there were a couple of very crucial mistakes here on Geek Fam's side as well, right? Even if they had a good draft, I mean, they still give up a lot of like really easy kills, right? They sack the mid lane completely without any sort of like redemption on the other lanes. I mean, yeah, you do have the Omninet Husk, which was kind of nice, but still felt like they didn't just get enough out of those side lanes to really warrant losing the mid lane as hard as they did.
Oh yeah, and that's what we were talking about as well. Like for the past 2 days. These are the kind of mistakes that, up against a team like TNC, if you do that, you're gonna get punished. Right? And this is what happened in this game. TNC, as a result, they round out the series 2-1. We will see them again tomorrow in the grand finals of the ESL One Genting SEA qualifiers. Geek Fam, unfortunately, they're gonna have to try again. I mean, Katowice is coming up as well in the new year.
Pretty soon, actually, yeah.
Pretty soon, yeah. Do stay tuned for that, but we're still far from done here in. Not just this region, but the other regions, of course, as well. Still have to wrap up with the semi-finals. For right now, though, next matchup will be Boom ID versus Clutch Gamers, scheduled to start in a couple of minutes. So won't have an extended break. We're gonna take a short one anyway, so stay tuned.